Welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planetgreen's Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. Today, on yet another episode of Datescounty Nature's Tycoon, I have with me an entrepreneur who has invested time and passion into uplifting artisans. Let's welcome the founder of MixMitti, Shivangi Bajpai, on my show. Hi Shivangi, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much.
I want to start off by asking you, what is vegan approved leather and how many varieties do we have at this point and which ones do you use?
Thank you for inviting me over here. It's a huge opportunity for a brand like ours to come on this platform and meeting such icons who are working towards sustainability, and
Yes.
so because people will then they will follow and they'll adopt this.
Absolutely.
So vegan leather is basically ethical and cruelty-free, like an alternative to the traditional leather we have been using.
Skin leather.
And that can be PU, that can be fox leather, anything. But then again, those are not environmental friendly.
Okay.
So plant-based alternatives are the ones that are both environmental friendly as well and cruelty-free as well.
Okay.
So in that, we can use, like, if we talk about it, then they are apple extracted, pineapple extracted,
Wow.
cork, and then coconut extracted.
Okay.
So the materials that are derived from these raw are the ones that are plant-based, and they are perfect alternatives to leather. That we can call vegan leather.
Vegan leather. And what variety do you use in your line?
We use coconut leather
Oh, wonderful.
and we use cork.
Cork.
Yeah.
Cork again comes from a tree.
Yes,
Okay.
oak trees.
I remember someone sent me a pineapple leather bag and it's so light.
Yes.
And I really enjoy using that.
Those are very lightweight and durable.
And how is the process? Like, does it also take a lot of energy or is it like a eco-friendly
It's
process?
actually eco-friendly, and when it's extracted out of the plants, for example, if we talk about coconut leather, so there's a very homegrown brand that produces it in Kerala by the name Malai, and
In Kerala?
Yeah.
Okay.
They extract it from coconut water. So what they do is whatever waste coconut is it gathered around in that state, they gather it, they take out the water, they process it from the cellulose, and then they produce the entire sheet of coconut.
How
so
interesting.
It's best out of waste.
Right.
So
This is fabulous. This could be like a revolutionary breakthrough in this industry.
Yeah.
So tell me, you're a textile designer from NIFT. And how did that help you in building your brand?
So being a textile designer, we learned about materials.
Okay.
So rather than designing a garment, we learned about what fabric is to be used. Along with that, we learned about all the folk arts, the artisans, the kind of art that is in India and around the States. So that has helped in shaping this brand, what kind of material that I want to use or what kind of folk art I can use to promote the animals. So in that way, it has helped me being a textile designer.
So tell me, what does it take to build a sustainable brand?
A lot of study, to be honest, because you are having limited options in raw material.
Right.
You are already struggling in the market because there are very few brands, and it's a very niche community that understands the value of it. In that way, building a sustainable brand comes with a lot of challenges, but at the same time, it's something you're doing for good. So you feel really nice about the initiative.
Right.
You're doing good for the environment, for the animals. So
And your conscience is clear.
it's clear, yeah. It feels really like I'm doing something good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a brave step because is this your first venture?
Not actually. It isn't my first venture. When I graduated, I got a placement. So I was placed in Ajmer, and I used to do up and down. I was planning for a brand back then, and we started along one of my partners. We started a ethnic wear brand.
Okay.
But that was not aligning with my values. It wasn't a sustainable brand. It was just we are producing garments and producing waste.
I can totally relate to what you're saying because I had to say goodbye to my fashion brand also because, I tried to make it all eco-friendly, but then few things didn't fall into place. So I can totally resonate with what you're saying. So tell me, who is your target clientele and how did you identify them?
We have been exploring this, of course, and the target audience are the ones who understand the value of sustainability.
Okay.
And as I'm seeing with time, Back in 2015, 2014, people weren't aware. These were just keywords for sales. But now they're actually aware. They know what they're buying. They want to know what was the process going behind it. And those are the clients because they are the ones who are aware. So sustainably aware consumers are our clients.
And I think that clan is only becoming more in numbers.
Yes.
And I think you're in the right place at the right time.
Right.
So tell me, how important is for a sustainable brand like yours to encourage artisans and craftsmen of India to nurture the cultural heritage that we have?
India, I'll be honest, is very rich. It has so many folk arts, it has traditional textiles, all kind of it. And they are actually sustainable in the way they produce, in the way their paints are made, their art is made. They are very sustainable. In fact, we have to learn from them.
Right.
Yeah. And how a brand is helping or how sustainability is helping, that when such brands, they stand up and help artisans and bring their art forward in the kind of the products they are making, it works both ways. They are sustainable as well, so they align with your values and you're helping at them, so they get a raise, they get an awareness. Because I'll just share a small incident. So
Yes.
I was in Rajasthan and we were doing this small documentation on Bani.
Okay.
And when those bani dupattas, they reach into the market, their cost is up to 200 to 50.
Okay.
And per dupatta, an artisan is just getting 1.5 rupees.
Oh, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Dupatta which sells at 200 rupees, the artisan is only getting
1.5.
1.5 rupees?
Yes.
That is loot.
Yeah. So as much as like conscious brands as ours, they help artisans uplift, it will be good for both the parties working.
This
over
is
here.
like, it's like a completely new thing you opened up for me, because I didn't think the difference is so much
It's too
from the
much.
retail to what the artisan actually gets.
I have worked very closely with artisans. I was actually a project associate for Ustad project. It
Okay.
was under Ministry of Minority Affairs.
Okay.
And that's when I worked with artisans and I got to know this major difference that is happening at the back end when artisans are working. They are making such beautiful products which are so good and aligning with values of sustainability and recycling and whatnot. And when they reach into the market and under big labels, they are just getting peanuts for it. So
That has to change with
Exactly.
brands like yours. So tell me, among so many fast fashion brands which come in hundreds, how do you financially sustain your brand?
that's quite a task actually, because we are having a very niche market. And in that way, and our materials and raw materials are extremely expensive compared to what is easily available. So
Okay.
this is a struggle that is just going on. We have to do cost cuttings on other things where we can manage it out, like
Right.
marketing or this and that. But we have to be true to our product. So
Absolutely.
we can't compromise over there.
So, lot of ethical, you have to have your philosophy in place, look into the way you're producing it, and cost cutting, and find your clientele.
Yeah.
But I think this is changing. You're in a good space. Having said that, do you have a waste management kind of process at your workspace? And do you use any leftover material
Yeah.
to upcycle, repurpose, reuse, or do something else with it?
We actually, our
Okay.
packaging is basically we reuse waste cloth.
Okay.
Yeah, so we source it from different shops,
Okay.
which have been left, like they are left with a little amount of material because people take in bulk. So we
Right.
try sourcing the small leftover pieces, and we produce our dust-free bags with it, in which the bags are kept, or we do our packaging with it. So
Okay.
that is entirely best out of waste.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course the product we try to source with very fine materials so the quality is maintained.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all the cutouts and leftover from what you make, do you also use them for something else?
Actually, we plan in such a way that there is no waste.
Oh, that's perfect. That's better than trying to use the leftovers.
Yeah, because we source very limited material, we produce very limited pieces.
Right.
Once we start receiving the feedback and orders, then we go into more production.
Okay.
So it's a slow fashion brand.
Okay.
It does not do bulk production. So we are
Correct.
very limited on our material usage.
And also, this is a term that people have been coining a lot, inclusive economy. Like, it's not just you being the center of the business, but then you are lifting communities, artisans, and also, as you said, doing it in a slow way, so there's not much of load on the resources on the planet.
Our brand's actual message is actually for conservation of animals.
Oh, wonderful.
So the brand
So
has,
that's the objective and the
yeah,
vision of the brand.
yeah.
That's fabulous.
The entire design aesthetics of the brand are focused around animals, whether we use photographs that we
Okay.
click as photographers, and or traditional folk arts that are using animal motifs,
Okay.
or we try making artworks in which we highlight facts about animals, and all these different design elements we use in our products.
Wow. So what is the process from the time you begin to design, produce, and market and sell?
How we plan is, first of all, we come up with an idea that, okay, if we are going to design this collection, number one, what are the materials we are going to use? We try exploring new every time.
Okay.
Of course, plant-based, but new. And second, we come up with how is that collection going to highlight awareness regarding animal extinction or animal conservation or welfare or regarding endangered species. So these are the two things we start with.
Okay.
And then we trickle down to color palettes and how we are going to do the production and how it's going to move forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are your expansion plans like? I know this is a slow brand, but then there are many people you probably did not even tap as yet.
Right. Yes.
There are many, I know, because once I got into sustainability, there's a huge network and a lot more people are, getting added onto this onto this number. So expansion plans.
To be honest, I just see this brand working as a trendsetter for meaningful fashion. That means like this brand should be having some meaning in it, and it just helps the people to be aware consumers, and regarding environment as well, regarding animals as well. So I just picture this brand as something that would be a trendsetter for meaningful fashion.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you see other bags, it's all machine cut and machine made, and yours is everything's handmade.
Yeah.
So do you have customers complaining about not being in a symmetric way like how the other brands make their machine made production?
I'll say that, to be honest, we have never got a bad review.
Okay.
And because the fact is that they understand the value of the bag,
Right.
and the value of its entire mission, the vision of the brand. So no, plus it's not very difficult when we talk about handmade, because you have patterns cut.
Okay.
They know how to make the markings and they are very efficient. The artisans are extremely efficient.
Everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
I think the beauty of handmade product is like there is a little variation from piece to piece.
Yes, that
If
is true.
people enjoy that and respect that, I think it's easy for you to get into this space.
I believe people are getting very aware. I see how they have started wearing things that are made in traditional arts or traditional weaves, and people are getting aware. I just hope it just expands really quickly,
Right.
so we can save whatever is left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see a lot more young entrepreneurs coming into this space? Is there scope to expand? Someone like you want to come into a business, something very similar. Do you see there is scope to grow and expand?
There is, because this is a market that is growing now. We notice a lot of brands have switched to eco-friendly packaging, or they are just trying to add these values into their brand. However, so I think this is just start of it, and it's going to grow like super huge. So if any entrepreneur is really planning to come into this market with these values, I guess they are going to grow.
So you mentioned your brand is animal centric and you want to create awareness about animals. So how do you interconnect that, and what is that which is happening in that aspect? What are you trying to bring out through your brand?
Just a small share that I'm actually a hobbyist wildlife photographer.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
Since I've been brought up in Kenya, so I've been very close to animals.
Okay.
So when I got professionally into being a designer, I thought, how can I just combine both of these?
Okay.
And the first idea that I got, let's use pictures.
Okay.
So we started with our first collection, and we used live photographs that are clicked around in Kenya and India of tigers and lions, different birds and things. And that was just a capsule collection that I thought, okay, let's launch it. Let's see what's the feedback. And from there onwards, the kind of reviews we got in return, that's how I realized that we can use wildlife and fashion together to spread a message.
And your connect with animals also, I
Yeah.
think, brought everything together beautifully.
Exactly.
So, MixMitti, right? Mitti, recently, Save Soil movement. I've been very closely associated, and I've understood the true value of what soil is in our life, and we all come from it, go back into it,
back into
we are
it.
nourished by it.
Yes.
So this fascinated me. Why the name MixMitti?
There's a very small story behind it, actually. So, I have been from a lot of places.
Okay.
Um,
So you traveled a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been brought up in Kenya, I live in Nigeria, I stay in India. So, it was kind of a mix.
Okay.
So, I was just telling this story to someone, and they just randomly it came out of their mouth that you are a MixMitti person.
Oh, okay.
And that is how, and it was back, I guess, in 2016. I was, and that time I had no plan that I'll be having a brand that is associated in such a way with these values. And suddenly it just struck me that MixMitti, yes, we can use this. It's somehow, it's kind of denoting me.
Right.
It's denoting values, and at the same time, it's having the word mitti in it, which is again
natural, eco-friendly,
Yeah.
the roots, you know.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting story, and I think it goes so well with your brand. So, what is your personal idea about sustainability, and what practices do you have on a personal front?
So I felt that I should adopt these measures back in 2017. Before that, no, I wasn't very aware about these values. And I started with simple things like reusing.
Okay.
After that, I slowly switched my fashion sense. It went more from polyester to cotton, organics, and hemp.
Okay. Yeah.
Then my usage, my consumption.
Okay.
I became aware about that. Then now it's in a way that most of the things are in my room are wood based.
Okay.
And paper mache based.
Okay.
And the way I purchase things are mostly like if we talk about stores, so I go to such a stores where we have like fill up options.
Okay.
Yeah. And this way, like consumption, what you're wearing, how you're consuming, and how you're reusing, all these measures and methods are the way I've been adapting myself for sustainability.
This brand looks like it's an extension of your own self.
Probably.
Okay. And at work, do you also encourage your staff to kind of follow this philosophy because they are associated with the brand like this?
Surprisingly, each one of them is already very aware about it, and they are like, they already follow these values very much. They carry their own cutleries, they carry their own water bottles, they switch off the fans, they switch off the ACs. Most of the time, they're not even using ACs.
Wow.
So they are very much aligned to the values already.
Fabulous. Yeah. So you have a perfect team which are in sync with all that you believe and all that the brand stands for. Fabulous. Yeah. So do you think the kind of person you become and the kind of values you have, the way you live and how you have extended those values into your business, does your upbringing have something to do with how you shaped up?
It has a very huge hand, actually.
Your parenting or the places you grew up in?
The places I grew up.
Okay.
Because back then, there wasn't awareness about sustainability. Our grandparents and our parents followed the reusing value, but there wasn't as such awareness about these other terms. What really helped me shape up in this way was my nurturing and the place I stayed in. Because when I was in Kenya, and over there everything is very earthy, very sustainable, very down to earth. Anything that can be recycled, reused.
Right.
And I have been growing around animals, from feeding horses to crocodiles to ostriches to giraffes. So, see, everything went hand in hand.
I think you probably are connected to nature, and had a childhood not many children, would have if lived in urban areas.
So I grew up with animals. Then I shifted to India. Of course, I lost those connect in that years when I was over here, when I shifted. But then once I took my career, I stood up, and that's when it all came back to me, and I'm like, let's do this now.
It was all underneath, layered, and became a foundation, and I think it just came out in everything you do right now.
Yeah.
So what is that one thing you want to tell young entrepreneurs before starting a sustainable brand?
Do your research and have a story first, because people are yet getting aware. So don't expect that you'll step in and in 2 years you'll be just blooming and making money.
Okay.
It's a slow process, but it's a promising process.
Okay. So story is something that you say is very important.
Yeah, because when people are talking about sustainable brands, they just focus on being eco-friendly. But sustainable is an all-round term. They are, if we talk about SDGs, there are 17 SDGs.
Yes.
And then which ones are you following? Is it only about environment? Then it's just one you are covering.
Right.
You have to have at least 5 or 6 of them that you are covering.
Oh, that's a good one. I
Yeah.
think that's something everyone should listen to.
Right.
Yeah, just not one sustainable goal, development goal, but then have a couple of them and then build a brand, have a story and slow process. I think that's great. Anything else that you want to add?
Just try whatever values you have in your mind, try having them portrayed in your brand.
Okay. So your brand is artisan centric, and I think I've seen few of your bags and they're beautifully painted. So do you have artisans who are women, or does the brand empower women in any way?
We work with an NGO called USD,
Okay.
USD Consortium. It's based in Delhi.
Okay.
And over there, women who are have gone through domestic violence or any kind of mishappening, or even are just very normal. They are part of the NGO, and they are the ones who are doing the major stitching for our packaging bags.
Oh, wow.
And second, we use female artisans, means we request them to paint for us. Like we have used Madhubani recently, and there's this lady Gauri Devi. She's
Wow,
she's
what a
Madhubani
name, Gauri
artisan.
Devi.
Yeah, and she has painted all the bags.
Really?
Just one lady, and she has painted all the bags.
That is so gratifying just to listen to this story behind the bag and the paint.
She does not know how to use technology. She doesn't have a phone.
Okay.
She can't understand English at all. She just knows that I have to mix this black paint with the medium and I have to paint.
Paint.
That's it.
Wow.
So explaining her is an entire process, but what comes out is extremely beautiful.
So you have many more women like that? I mean,
Yeah.
that's empowering
Yeah.
women through what agency that was, you said?
USD Consortium.
Okay, wow,
That's
this
an
is
NGO.
interesting.
Yeah. It's actually my family's only.
Oh, that's even more interesting. Tell me more about that.
My aunt, she is the one, she's actually a lawyer, but she is the one who takes care of this entire NGO, and it's entirely women-centric. And
So basically for women, this NGO is to empower
for women, completely.
underprivileged or women who are into domestic violence or lost somebody.
Illiterate, any kind.
Okay.
Each and every woman who is in need of help is most welcome in that NGO.
Wow, I'm really seeing the map as to how you connected everything.
Yeah.
Women artisans to your upbringing, to your connection with animals, you know, moving around to different countries, having the ethos so beautifully laid out. This is a fabulous story. I think you're pretty much ticking off all the, you know, like
all the things,
to call yourself a completely sustainable and artisan-driven or centric brand.
I'm just trying my best.
Yeah, this is fabulous. I'm really, really happy to know how you're conducting your business. Hope you grow leaps and bounds.
Thank you.
And hope your community grows, and hope you empower a lot more women through your brand.
Thank you so much.
I had wonderful time, and it was an insightful conversation. Thank you.
It was amazing for me as well.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode. Stay tuned for more updates. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.